All right, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is DFree, and for today's video, we are going to be talking about the Powerful Opponent campaign and characters that I think have a good chance of popping up and kind of characters I just want to see pop up in general. So obviously the campaign was announced back on the 30th a couple of days ago, and since then we've seen two characters, one of which is a Powerful Opponent in stature, but not in terms of the design choice of the tag, which I guess I'll talk about briefly for a moment in a second. But we also have some interesting hints in the game that could be potentially leading to another character that's going to be on the reveals list. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe for some more content. If you're new to the channel, we'd love to have you do that, so you guys don't miss anything we upload on the channel as well. Be sure to click that notification bell. I've noticed that a lot of you guys do actually have notifications on through the analytics, so thank you so much if that's you. Hashtag notification squad in the comments. Enough talking. Let's get back to some more talking. Okay, so here's the deal. That was really funny what I said, I know. Let me go ahead and turn this down because it's really loud on my computer. I don't know if you guys can hear it. The trailer's irrelevant. We just need the end piece of the trailer, though. So Goku Black was revealed, which is, it's kind of funny that they're both on the same banner. So Goku Black was revealed as the next character in this Dragon Ball FighterZ style reveal that they're doing for the Powerful Opponents campaign. Okay, so that's the most important thing. Now, like I said, Frieza is here, and here was Frieza's announcement. They say, oh, a slew of new powerful villainous characters are invading Legends. Mecha Frieza is not a tag Powerful Opponent character, but the campaign is called Powerful Opponents. So that's probably like a translation issue or whatever. It's just some weird terminology usage. However, here's the deal. If you didn't know, that Powerful Opponents tag in the game is only for the main villain slash antagonist of an arc or a movie or a part of the series, basically. So like Mecha Frieza is part of the Android saga, so he can't be he just literally can't be the Powerful Opponent for that grouping, because the androids are going to be that. And then we switch to the Cell saga. Yes, there's a split there. They're separate. Cell would be the Powerful Opponent for the Cell saga, and then Majin Buu, you go from there with the Buu saga, which means that characters that work under those characters, like Dabura, he doesn't have a chance, or I guess Dabura for the English pronunciation. He doesn't have a chance to be the Powerful Opponent. That's why he doesn't have the tag. Jiren has it for that arc, for example, so on and so forth. So it's funny, but that's kind of how the tag is built. If you go and look through it, that's what they've done. So anyways. Okay, so we know we're getting 3 more characters. Now, will a Zenkai take a spot on the list? It's possible, but I doubt it. Right? I don't imagine they'd fill in one of these 3 remaining spots with a upcoming Zenkai Powerful Opponent character. I assume this is just only for new characters. This is also pushing until the 19th of October. And if we were to look at the calendar for basically what's available between now and then, this is what we have as an option. Literally pulled up a calendar to show this. So the characters came out on the 30th of August, which does mean that the 6th would be an update. This is going to be which I guess depends on what time of the day it is for you. For me, it's at 10 p.m., 11 p.m. Some other people, it would be the 7th and blah, blah. But anyways, we'll stick to mine. This would most likely be a Zenkai on September 6th, because that's typically what they do. The format typically goes Zenkai every other week, basically. The following week in this period, as they always, and they have for like over a year now, put out LFs in the second week / middle portion of the month. This is where I'd assume we get our next LF, which probably does wind up being a Powerful Opponent and taking that 3rd slot. That does mean that the next week, again, the next week would be a Zenkai. Ordinarily, it could be a filler week or just, you know, run back banners. It doesn't really have to be anything crazy. It could be like another one of those tag Powerful Opponent, tag regen type banners. You know, it is, I don't really know. It's not going to be a new character, though, is the point, unless it's a Zenkai. And then the following week after that would most likely be the release of the next All-Star banner, or it could be another run back week like the last week. And then we take a look at the next week, which is the 4th of October. Right here in this period is where things are kind of interesting, because again, in order to fill this chart out by here, you still have 2 more slots to fill, unless that 4th slot was taken up around here with the release of the All-Star banner running back, right? So All-Star banner could technically release here, but the point is, I'd assume that the 19th, regardless of what happens in these in-between days, the 19th, which is the final day of this campaign as listed here, will be the 5th slot. Now, that probably does mean, because 2 middle of the month periods are happening here, but for the 3rd and 5th slots, the 4th slot's kind of up in the air, but the 3rd and 5th slots are most likely LF characters. So we have really 2 LFs and probably 1% sparking character that's going to release. They could also release some other characters that aren't powerful opponents alongside these characters, or in some of these weeks. They could go out of schedule, but it's typically what's kind of happening here. They typically update the game in that fashion. So the first character I would like to point out is King Piccolo. He's been thrust to the spotlight because the new Supreme Boss Rush stage does go through some of the arcs of Dragon Ball, showing off some of the main villains, and just King Piccolo is listed 3 times here. We need a Piccolo Jr. character, I guess. Anyways, where's it at? I don't know. But yeah, we go all the way through to the Frieza stuff, and yeah, pretty much that. So I would like to say King Piccolo is interesting as an option to get a release for an upcoming character, whether it's an LF or not. Again, 2 out of 3 slots are most likely LFs, so I would assume that it's a really good chance, and probably our best possible chance, to get a release for this guy, and I think he deserves it for sure. He definitely is one of the most prominent characters in the series, in terms of also lasting impact with giving us Piccolo and stuff like that, and Kami and all that stuff. But nonetheless, though, this guy definitely deserves it. And moving on from him, Omega Shenron definitely is another character I think has a decent chance. Now, the funny thing about him is that there's no, so like, I always like to, when it comes to banners, I always like to look at the breadcrumbs of the releases that we're getting prior. The problem is that right now, they're jumping around a lot. So like right now, what's really happening is it's just Dragon Ball Z content. That's all it really is. Like, they're just, look at all this. It's just Zenkais for Dragon Ball Z characters. No GT, no Super. It's just Dragon Ball Z based stuff. We get the Z abilities, characters with the Majin Buu Saga Z abilities releasing here. We get a Zenkai for Majin Vegeta. And then we backtrack to the Android/Cell Saga stuff here. And then we kind of get the powerful opponent stuff happening with the release of Jiren's Platinum Equip thrown in here for some reason. But all the while, we're still getting Zenkais for characters like Future Gohan and more Android-based stuff. And then we're kind of right here, I guess technically they also are doing some Future stuff, which Future's one of the, probably the only tag that spans between 2 parts of the series, with the the characters from the future, or whatever the case is, or the Future Trunks saga. So anyways, technically Future has a good chance here with some through lines, basically with Goku Black and Trunks and Gohan as well. I guess I should mention that. But we're back to Android stuff as well. Android Saga stuff with Mecha Frieza. So they're kind of just doing a lot of Dragon Ball Z stuff. So the point is, in terms of GT, because I think him, and for the record, also Super Baby or Baby 2, whatever, Baby Vegeta, doesn't matter which one, which iteration, which I would actually kind of really like him, because I would like to see his LF have the giant form in it. That would be really cool. Anyways, nonetheless, GT characters like him and Baby are definitely in consideration as characters that deserve it. And that's not to say that over the course of the next month, because again, there is a month and like 3 weeks period for the rest of this campaign. That's not to say that they can't shift focus. It's just that they typically follow a set pattern with their releases, and if we're being honest, I don't think GT's gotten anything, and I mean anything, since the release of this guy and Oob. I don't think they've gotten anything, like not even a Zenkai. So GT's just, they always do this to GT every single year. I think the most recent thing they got was probably this guy's Platinum Equip, and also his, I guess. But yeah, they do it every year to GT. It's really bad being a GT main. So maybe we get like a Zenkai for one of these older Super Babies or Baby Vegetas. Maybe this guy's Zenkai was the most recent one, actually. Anyways, they don't touch this team. So yeah, it's kind of tough to say, but I do think that, again, Baby and Omega are definitely in consideration for characters that are deserving of it. And then also alongside Demon King Piccolo, you have a strong roster of characters that definitely deserve it. Now, the thing about it is that when it comes down to powerful opponent, there's also a huge version of this grouping of characters that deserve it from the movies, right? And I think that one of the most popular, talked about options that fans would love to see is actually a not powerful opponent, a LF version of, where's he at? Where's the dude at? I tried to time it with me talking. He hasn't had a unit in a while, huh? He's in here buried somewhere. Where are you at? I really don't see him. Oh, there he is. Super Janemba. Seriously, is this the last unit he's gotten? That's a crime. That's actually a crime. That feels like a crime. So Super Janemba, I think, he he definitely should be in consideration for one of these characters, and probably not the one in the middle that's probably going to be a 1% character. Probably the one that's a freaking LF, dude. One of the ones that's an LF. He definitely deserves it. This guy should, and I mean should, quickly get the release of a LF, because he just, wow, that's really surprising. He only has 3 characters, one of which is an EX. So outside of that, again, another thing that kind of happens here is, like I talked about the breadcrumbs of teams that they released, you also have to consider the other tags that these characters have and the impact that more releases would have on these tags overall. So like regen, with a lot of these characters, regen also is the home for a lot of these characters. Regen basically was our villain tag before we got powerful opponent, which still isn't a actual villain tag because characters like I mentioned, like Deborah, are actually not a part of it. But nonetheless, like there's a lot of characters here that could get a Zenkai or something like that that could lay the foundation to give you a hint or whatever the case is for an upcoming release of a character for this tag, which unfortunately that could be literally anybody I've talked about in this video so far. All of them have this tag. Omega, Super Baby, not Cell, Super Janemba, King Piccolo, they all have this tag, so that's not really a terrible hint or like a hint in particular towards anything, but maybe more movies content would be the hint. We did kind of just get a nice boon of movies content over the last several months, to be honest. Since like April or whatever, we were getting a lot of movie characters or movie Zenkais, which was a hint for the anniversary, in which in the anniversary they released more movie characters, things like that. And speaking of movie characters, there's one I want to kind of throw out really quick before I talk about the big one at the end. A new Broly, specifically Z Broly. We don't have a Z Broly LF, so that one just makes sense. We got all these. Look at all these Brolys versus the Janembas. Now, part of this is because there's variation. We got 2 different Brolys to release characters for, so if you were to split them up, it doesn't look as jarring. But oh my goodness, I know Broly is way more popular, but still. Anyways. So a Z Broly LF, I don't really need to mention too much about that. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Definitely worth consideration as an option as well. But again, not a lot of breadcrumbs for too much outside of just regular Dragon Ball Z stuff, not movie-based stuff or whatever. It feels like they're mainly just going to do just arcs, which also extends to King Piccolo right now. I don't really know what the plan is. Maybe they're jumping back in time, and the next part they jump to is Saiyan Saga or to Dragon Ball Saga and give us one of those characters from that part of the story, in which case we already have a Saiyan Saga LF, so I don't know, but it is what it is. So the last one. The last one is Cell. So the thing about, not Cell, I mean Max. The thing about Max is this is why I needed to save him for the end. There's a lot of thoughts I have about Cell Max and his integration in this game. First and foremost, that wouldn't make too much sense with this campaign. And the reason why is because the campaign ends on the 19th. The campaign ending on the 19th takes us, what, a month shy of like Black Friday, in which case Black Friday / Christmas / New Year's Legends Festival territory there, we're just shy of that. In which case, by the way, I do think that like end of October, early November, there's not going to be that many releases. They might deviate from their schedule like they typically do right before a big celebration, where they don't give us as many crazy hype releases, let us save for a couple of weeks or whatever. Anyways, it just doesn't make sense because I do think that the movie content is coming at that time period between Black Friday and New Year's. That's people talk about them like they're like 6 months apart. That's a month gap, okay? That's literally not that big of a gap. That's like a part 1, part 2 type deal. So I do think that Cell Max, if we're going to get him released, would come then. Now, the thing about this is that this campaign could release Cell Max as the last slot or a character. Well, I'll talk about the releasing of Cell Max in a minute because he's kind of weird. Anyways, something tying into the movie nonetheless on the 19th of October. And then after that, we get a full-on movie celebration that spans for a couple of parts and maybe takes us up to Legends Festival or New Year in that period. Probably just bypasses Black Friday. I don't know. But I don't really know what their plans are, but that could also be a possibility too. Now, the thing about Cell Max that's just really weird is I talked about it earlier, the big forms of characters. Like, the way that they've chosen thus far to integrate big forms of characters is by including it on an LF. I mentioned Super Baby 2 getting one, and that would be really cool. They made this decision with the Saiyan Saga LF, who I also mentioned earlier, with the Grade 8 Vegeta, where they're showing it as part of his actual LF animation, and not even the Ultimate. Unless you get the LF, you got to get the LF. They also make this decision with Hirudegarn being a part of Tapion. They even gave Tapion the Powerful Opponent tag because it's really a Hirudegarn card. But anyways, they make it's not, but you get my point. Anyways, they gave Tapion Hirudegarn's form only when defeated, and they're basically just cutscenes, right? They're not actually playable characters. We don't actually have a playable big form or giant form character in the game, probably due to the nature of this game, right? It's a million times easier, for example, for Dokkan to implement something like this just because the style of the game. With this game, it gets really tough to even see around the characters that are like the size of like God Topo or Fusion Zamasu or the Merge Zamasu Corrupted. I talk so bad about those characters when I play them because it's like, dude, I can't see what the opponent's doing. Like, they take up a huge portion of the screen, and they're not even giant form characters. So unless you're going to downscale the size of the characters for Legends, which they clearly don't want to do, I really don't know if Cell Max can actually ever release in this game. The only thing I could really see is they do something like, which probably is a little disrespectful to Gamma 2 because of the nature of what he was trying to do in the movie. Maybe they do like a Gamma 2 revive character or something similar to Tapion, where when he's defeated, Cell Max pops in and does like a huge chunk of damage or something like that, right? Tapion won't forever be the only character with that version of that type of skill, the defeated effect. So I don't really know what they do. I don't know what they do. Maybe a duo Gamma 1 and 2 that LFs and, you know, that guy pops up instead. Like, I don't know what the plan is with him. Like, he's a character that's really, like, he's the only character that they can't do something different for, basically, you know, because he is just what he is. He's just a big form character. There's nothing there. Like, even Hirudegarn is just a big form character, but they found a loophole by using Tapion, which is fair. They didn't even give like, actually, I need to go back and rewatch it before I was gonna say, but like, I was gonna be like Minotion, like, not even a part of it because, you know, the halves are sealed. But nonetheless, though, I can't think of another character that they really have to apply that same focus to. Like, if they were to do like a giant form Lord Slug LF, for example, they could still make just him be regular Lord Slug and make him go big as part of the animation. Like, we don't have a lot of giant form characters in the series, and Legends as a game would struggle to implement that. So I really don't know what the plan is with him. But I do want to give him a shout out because he may never be released in this game as a playable character because of this stuff, unless they find some really cool way to implement him. Especially because, like I said, it's not the same as Tapion. You know, Gamma 1 and 2, the motivation is different. I guess Tapion, his motivation was not to release, you know, Hirudegarn the same way either. He just lost control. But still, there was a sacrifice that took place. anyways, I digress. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Those are my options for powerful opponents that will release as part of this campaign. It could be somebody completely out of left field that I didn't even mention. So if you have an interesting take on anything like that, please be sure to let me know in the comments. Have an awesome day, guys, and I'll see all of you next time.